And one of the reporters, can you start our meeting with a prayer? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Sige.
Let us put ourselves in the most holy presence of God, next sign of the cross, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Our heavenly and loving Father, we thank you for this special time you're giving to us. The gift of life, the gift of knowledge, and most especially this gift of education. As we begin our class, grant that we may fully understand all our discussions today as we go through. Bless Sir Roland and Father Timmy who's not around, so that they may become an instrument of our vocation. This we ask through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon sa tanan. Na ako'y giandam nga live share screen niya ako sa inyo. Ayun. Okay. Sige. Naamoy chat. Nakikita ninyo ng chat sa gilid. Pwede mo makapag-type. Chat? Wala. Left side. Right
Wala
side
po,
pala.
sir.
Wala po mo chat.
Wala kami, sir.
Okay.
Tapad din ba sa
Okay, sige.
scan na, sir?
Available on team members na, sir.
Okay. Sige. Share screen na lang na ako. Okay. So, nakita ninyo rolljack.me.
Yes, sir.
Punta sa browser. Ato mo sa browser, i-type ninyo rolljack.me. rolljack.me. So, one alternative. rolljack.me.
Ara.
Yeah. Para maka-join. Ayan. Oh, John. Si John. Very good. Ayan dalirado tuan. Okay. Pulse check ni siya. Pulse check. So, John, Mars. Wala po nato ning uban.
Mars B0. Oh. Ay, oh. Ay, 0.
Ako na yung buhaton aron wala ng buwan. Part of the unit.
Maling ka nito pag
Mars, pwede ko open na ng ganun nito, Mars.
So, rolljack. Yan, nandiyan na si Ken. Good.
Sir, wait na, sir. Hi. Hindi mo kasi ako, sir.
Okay lang. Okay.
Dili, lagi.
Dali, dali. Masulod ya. Ang kon niya.
Ay, sa computer?
F43BO.
Hindi na maubos. Isipin niya. C, ano na may C?
Oh, tabangi ng uban. Pakita kung giunsa ninyo pag-apel.
Hindi ko na mas.
So, si John, si Mars. Ayan. Sorry. Mars, nahimo ninyo tong video na record ninyo inyong report?
Yes, sir. Na-record na mo, sir.
Okay. So, after this, we'll play the video.
Okay, sir. Pero, sir,
I-share nyo na lang.
Buksan
Ah,
yung
mo
ulan.
i-share screen.
na, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Ano yan? Pag umanan eh.
dili na mo makakuha sa kanang mga kasulit akong 20 by 20. Nakadong meeting mo.
Ah, itong pecha kucha?
Oh, yes, sir. Then, wala pa siya, sir. Abot na may 18 minutes.
Asa man? O, sige lang, okay lang. Ito nang tanawon niya.
Dili ako siya mo kadabi tayo maging sir nga mo direct nga mo next shot next slide.
90 seconds. Oo.
Iset lang mo siya 20 seconds pero padayon lang yapon siya.
Butang ninyo nga all slides. Apply to all slides.
Oh, apply to all slides.
20 seconds.
Pero kami pa yung mag-next.
Tingalig inyong ipindot ka tong first slide kasi after nga ipindot nimo tong first slide mo wala na nasa ng time.
Wala mo po hindi pa na mo to. Okay ra to, sir.
Okay lang tanaw na tanaw niya. Oh, ano mo pa man ka-appeal nimo ba?
Sir, laging in pa, sir.
Balin pa si sir.
Bali na. Si Benji na. Dan, Mark, Ken, Benji. Isa may kulang Mark J. O si Bover. Wala pa.
Yes, sir. Sila lang doon, sir.
Duwa na lang.
Sir,
Kining
mag-join
roll
na
jack.
sir.
Oh, join lang. Tapos i-type niyo mo tong game code. Muraragya pong kahot. Na i-code nyo yung i-type. Pero maka-appel ka. Duha na lang si Mark J. o si Boober. Pero dala border karon dia. Napa gipadala si Father Tim?
Wala sir.
Oh, pero si Father
Oh, mo pa pagamot na ko.
Ay, pag-abot sakto pa.
Sugod na yung report.
Wala pa. May
sige.
activity. Yan, si Boober. Okay. Wala to na to si Mark J. Duha na lang. Feedback.
Feedback mo eh.
Boober. Okay. Si Mark J na lang ang walang pa. Mark J na lang kulang. Okay, very good. Ready na. Ayaw mag-drawing, no? Mag-drawing siguro.
Kaya.
Kailangan na mag-drawing sa start na to, ha? By start. How are you feeling today? Drawing lang niyo. How are you feeling today? Happy, excited. Pero i-drawing ninyo ang inyong response. Dili mag-type. Sketch your response. Now, not okay. Less than 1 minute na lang. Okay, kung isa maayo mo drawing Oh, 45 seconds na lang. Yan ang kinahanglan nga Picasso, ha? Ako, drawing. 30 seconds. Huwag kalimutan lagyan ng title, ha? Title ng drawing. 18 seconds. Don't forget to give it an awesome title. 10 seconds. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Taray! Tingnan natin. On to the next. Oh! View gallery. Ito mga ito na mga drawing. Ito. If you just ayan na, leave me alone. Ayan. Oh. Uber happy. Okay. Mark J, wala kay title. Oh my God. So, ayan na siya. Tapos si Ken. Ay, naantok si Ken. Ken, magre-report ka pa. Huwag ka antokin. Tapos si Mars happy. Mayo drawing na. Sorry. Benji, so na. Naglipay, huwag mo din si Benji. Jan, sorry yung mga ipon dyan. Nasiko ka sa basketball. Okay, very good. Thank you. Next. Somebody next, honey. Open-ended. Get it out. Okay. Oh, naman wala na. The next, honey. Ay, nga din yung line ko. Get it out. Wala naman siguro. Okay, so I'm glad that everyone is happy. Okay? Si Ken, inaantok daw. Huwag niyong patulugin si Ken mamaya. Tanungin. Para hindi antokin. Okay, so thank you very much for your response. So now we will stop na natin ito. Stop sharing. Okay, very good. Yan. So, karon. Okay. So, karon natong buhaton, we will watch the video. Okay. Isa may mag-share.
Ako, sir.
Okay, sige. So, si Mars na bahala. So, ilan doon? 18 minutes? So, we'll watch for 18 minutes. Kindly take down notes na sinabi nila. And if you have questions, kindly also write it down so that we can ask the presenters later on. Okay, I'll turn off my microphone. Let's be silent.
Sir, dili daw madungog, sir.
Wala may audio. Wala lagi audio.
Yan lang, sir.
Ulit, Mars. Include computer sound. Pag nag-share ka. Nag-share naman, include computer sound.
Ano yan, sir?
Sa taas, yung share content, tapos include computer. Kita niyo mo.
Yung screen share, sir?
Oo, share content.
Tapos
Include computer sound.
wala man sa setting, sir.
Wala kay...
Okay, open din ako dami.
Wala ba?
Data, sir. Ako, iban, sir. Try na ko sa window lang. Oh, talaga.
Okay.
Ito na.
Yun yung iba.
Oh, may tingog yun, sir.
Wala.
Wala,
O,
may
sige.
yung mga
Mars, paki-send sa kuan ng imong kuan
Video, sir.
video file.
So, Gmail, sir.
Email, asa mo na nimo na save sa Gmail?
Dili, sir. Nara sa akong desktop, sir. Then, ahan ako i-send sa
Sige.
imong Gmail.
Gmail na lang sige. Gmail na ako ay 3chanset 3chan set
Unsa to, sir?
gmail.com.
burger.
3 Chan as in Jackie Chan and then set SET. set@gmail.com.
Ang 3, sir, is number or word?
Number 3. Set@gmail.com. Tapos while that's being shared by Mars, let's watch the video summary na binigay ni Father Tim for our lesson last week on the teleological argument. We will watch that. If you go to Zion, I've included it in one of the sections. Okay, the summary.
Okay na, sir. Okay na, sir, na. Send na ako, sir.
Send na?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, ulato lang na ako kay more na yung topic. Lang. Paniabot. So habang while we wait for that, let me share with you.
Following the 5 ways of St. Thomas Aquinas, we followed it up with a topic about the teleological argument or the argument of design. It was under the intelligent and the creative mind of Benji Pagapa. Hello, Benji! That William Paley's teleological argument was opened and was
Internet ko ngayon. Loading. Loading man sa YouTube.
Benji! That William Paley's teleological argument was opened and was visualized. The complexity of the world with its order, its purpose, its use or telos gives proof of the existence of a world maker who is God. When we argue that if something has a purpose, then it therefore must have a designer. Take note that this argument is a posteriori, meaning they are based on experience. It is not based on an idea, but there is evidence, there is experience. The basic premise, the appearance of design, with the evidence that we find in the world where we have order, discover purpose, or find beauty, gives the appearance of a designer who we identify as God. William Paley's argument uses an analogy of the watchmaker. We find in a watch its complexity, its intelligent design, its purpose to point to an intelligent maker. The marks of a complex and intelligent designs are proof of the existence of a designer or maker who is God. And what we find in the watch, we also find to exist in the works of nature in terms of complexity, purpose, and design to strengthen the existence of a designer. And the designer must have been God. Any design like a ball pen or a cup indicates a designer and a maker. So using the argument of design, we can support the existence of an intelligent designer who is God. This argument sounds convincing, but it received a critic from David Hume, citing that the argument is so flawed. The use of analogies to explain the proof of God's existence was weak. For example, the construction of a house cannot be compared to the creation of the world. Their differences are too big, or because the world is so complex, it might suggest the idea of the existence of many gods. After the report, an open forum followed with an explanation on utilitarianism, or the thing or activities that gives pleasure or happiness to most people, regardless of the dissatisfaction or disapproval of a few. We also learned that David Hume was an agnostic, which helped explain his position and critic to William Paley's theological argument. But we affirm David Hume's criticisms. We welcome criticisms because it develops our critical thinking. And we need to learn the art of questioning because we are rational beings. Now, William Paley's watch analogy was criticized by David Hume because it is a false analogy or an error in reasoning. The world and watch cannot actually be compared. We support the idea that the watch, that is a complex invention, has a designer with a purpose in mind, and the world shows the appearance of design. Looking at the complexity and orderliness in the world will give us the idea of an intelligent designer, and that is the proof of the existence of God. The watch, which is mechanical, and the world, which continuously evolves, is an unsound analogy. The process of evolution may illustrate the complexity of the world, and not because it followed a design. Darwin's idea of evolution may refute the argument of design because objects found in the world could be designed or evolved. Because of the complexity, because of the many parts perhaps, it is not only because of one God, but many gods in collaboration. Just like making the watch, where it could have been made by more than one person. Having understood the theological arguments, telling us about purpose, a question was thrown to each one. Do you know your purpose? And somehow we have an idea. Like being in the seminary is following my purpose. But it will be made clearer in the process of formation. Here it was cited the weakness of William Paley's argument of design or purpose because not everyone is aware of their purpose. We are in the process of knowing and understanding our purpose. And now we continue the process of knowing and understanding the existence of God.
Yan. Thank you, Father Tim.
Yes, thank you.
Galing. So, eto, pag we continue doing this, katapos ng isang SEM, kompleto na ning imuhang video. So, nanatay kuan. Playlist. Akong gibutang na sa akong YouTube channel karon ma-store siya, and then hopefully na ay uban nga makapanood ng video. Yeah. Subscribe na lang. Like and then subscribe. And then share. Siyempre, share dapat. So, kung ako yung mga kauban na amigong seminarista diha nga nagtuon o philosophy of religion, you can share it with them. Okay, so ito na. Thank you, Mars. Dawat na ko ang imong video.
Okay, sir.
Download ko lang. Okay. Okay, share it now. So again, take notes, take down notes, and kindly also write your answers. Answers, questions pala. Yeah. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes. Oops, saan yun? Hindi yan. Wala. Ulit. Wait lang ha. Okay.
We will share to you the famous topic on
May audio?
To stay
Meron, sir.
compatible with reason.
For that, I am Marcelo Rinchi Tagaytay.
I am Kenneth John Lander Bufan.
So, one of the famous proponent of this topic is Blaise Pascal. So, who is Blaise Pascal?
So, si Blaise Pascal, he was born on June 19, 1623 at Clermont-Ferrand, France. So he was died on August 19, 1662. He is a French mathematician, physicist, religious philosopher, and master of rules.
So, according to Blaise Pascal, he suggested that God is infinite and eternal. Human understanding is incapable of grasping these concepts through reason. Therefore, God cannot understood by reason. So, according to him, if one submits everything to reason, a religion will contain nothing that is mysterious or supernatural. So, he's very famous with this book.
Yeah, it is entitled Thesis. Yeah. So this book contains the Pascal's wager. The practical argument for believing God was formulated by French mathematician and philosopher Blaise Pascal. In his essay, Pascal applied elements of game theory to show that belief in the Christian religion is rational. He also argued that people can choose to believe in God or can choose to not believe in God, and that God either exists or he does not. So, under these conditions, if a person believes that the Christian God and this God actually exists, they gain eternal happiness. Then, if a person does not believe in the Christian God and God exists, they receive infinite suffering. On the other hand, if a person believes in the Christian God and God does not exist, then they receive some finite disadvantages from a life of a Christian living. And if a person does not believe in this God, then they will receive some finite pleasure from a life lived unhindered by Christian morality. So, as Pascal states, let us weigh the gain and the loss in wagering that God is infinite.
So, Pascal's wager, Pascal wager goes like this. So, if you believe in God, then God exists. You'll gain eternal happiness in heaven.
Right?
And on the other hand, if you believe in God, then God does not exist, then nothing happens. So wala lang. And there is a boss, if you don't believe in God, then God does not exist. Again, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But if you don't believe in God, then God exists, so you will receive eternal damnation or hell, you will suffer. So Pascal wager is kanang mura siya gambler's argument for religious belief mura siya sugalay. So for this reason argues Pascal, it is better to believe than to deny that God exists. Kay
where in fact, ang Diyos, exist na siya.
oh, so mas nindot nga sugal ka dire para na kay mag-gain. So that is Pascal wager. So let's move on. Very famous po nga philosopher and psychologist si William James. So, he opposed niya. Yeah, he opposed the idea of claim of Blaise Pascal. So, who is William James?
So William James is an American philosopher and psychologist, leader of the philosophical movement of pragmatism, and a founder of the psychological movement of functionalism.
So,
So he was born on January 11, 1842 in New York City.
okay. So, James is very famous of his book entitled The Will to Believe. So, it is a lecture of William James. So it was published in 1896, which defends in certain cases the adoption of belief without prior evidence of its truth. So in particular, James is concerned in this lecture about defending the rationality of religious faith, even lacking sufficient evidence of religious truth. So,
So among his theory, we have his theory on pragmatism.
so by the way, he has a three theories.
Yeah, three.
The theory of
Pragmatism,
pragmatism, the functionalism, and theory of emotion.
Yeah.
So, but let's focus on his theory on pragmatism.
So the idea that the truth of an idea can never be proven. So this is one of James' most important contributions to the study of pragmatism is his concern with religion.
Yeah.
So in addition, according to James, truth should be evaluated based on its impact on human behavior. So therefore, one's religious faith can be justified if it makes positive difference in one's life.
That's why he said that the idea that the truth of an idea can never be proven.
Yeah.
So let's go here the argument or the proposition, logical proposition. So can you read?
So there is no evidence that God exists.
That is premise one.
Yeah. If there is no evidence that God exists, then it is wrong to believe that He does. So therefore, it is wrong to believe that God exists.
So one of the what you call that famous
Existence.
yeah. Then it was supported. What's the proper term of that? So by William Clifford. So according to him, belief without evidence is immoral.
Yeah.
Ethics of belief. He's famous also with this book, Ethics of Belief. So who is William Clifford? Actually, his full name is William Kingdom Clifford. He was born on May 4, 1845 at Exeter, Devon, England. He died in March 3, 1879 at Madeira Islands. He is a British philosopher and a mathematician who influenced by non-Euclidean geometries of Bernard Riemann and yeah. Then in his article, The Ethics of Belief, he argues that it is wrong to believe in God if one does not have evidence that God exists, as he put it near in the end of his article. So he said that it is wrong always, everywhere, and for anyone to believe anything upon insufficient evidence. So without sufficient evidence, it is wrong to believe it is
Yeah.
immoral for him. So his opponent, let us say opponent, is William James. So according to William James, that it's okay to believe without sufficient evidence.
So nasa like contrast lang. yun.
Yeah, nasa like contrast. So ang kay William James mo ni ang kanang yung story all about the shy dater. So according to Clifford, as you can see here in the left side, that if Rupert this guy, if Rupert believes without sufficient evidence that his date likes him, so his date is happy, plus he is happy, this equals for good for everyone. So, but according to William known ni Kingdom, Clifford, that this is immoral. But on the other hand, for him, the moral is this one. But for William James,
Yeah,
it's
but
vice versa.
yeah, but what makes immoral that idea is because it has no evidence.
Yeah.
It's no. So you could gain more an ideal is the date, right? The date. But in fact, it's not true. Because it has no evidence, according to Clifford.
So, as you can see, the moral of the story, it's always wrong to believe on insufficient evidence. That is according to William James. So, for James, the option is consist of two hypotheses, so or proposed belief.
Blue
So,
and red.
yeah, the option blue or red. So, it consists of the hypothesis, yeah, the blue or red. So some option for James is genuine option. So what is this genuine options? Options that we must decide on and that are important. In order for an option to be genuine, it must pass through a three series of tests according to William James. So what are these three series of tests? So as you can see there in the upper part, the option, then it will pass through this option: living or dead, avoidable or forced, momentous or trivial. Then Kenneth will share to you what are these.
So James talks about a genuine choice. Choice which merits this name for James must meet three criteria.
Yeah, to live,
To believe, to be
forced,
forced,
and
and
momentous.
momentous.
Yeah. So in this option, it is living if both the hypotheses are something you could see yourself possibly believing. So, for example, here, to study epistemology might be a live hypothesis to a philosophy major, but it might be a dead hypothesis to a biology major because hindi siya tugma.
Not
So,
coincide.
yeah, hindi siya nag-coincide. So, mahimo siyang dead. So, that is the example of kana sa live and living or dead ay, dead nga option. So, next is he defines an option as forced or avoidable or non-forced. An option is forced when there is an either or situation. Nearly all such options are of the sort. Either do this or do not do this. So an avoidable option is when we ask you to choose A or B. You can evade the issue by not choosing at all or choosing C or D. So, muna siya ang sa avoidable or forced. So, sa third nga way is kaning momentous and trivial. So he defines an option as momentous or trivial. An option is momentous when it is a matter of some import, life and death, or an importance once in a lifetime situation. Opposed to this are trivial. Trivial options which don't really make much difference in the world, or ones where you have the option all over again in the near future. So please take note that there is a great ambiguity here as to who and what defines what is momentous and what is trivial. So you will pass on these three ways before you will obtain a genuine option. So, muna siya ang kay William James. So, to proceed, so, dirita kay Soren Kierkegaard, the three stages in life's way. So, or let us say, kung ano siya, three spheres of existence. So, muna yung three stages or three spheres. First is aesthetics, ethics, and religious. So, can you explain to them what are these?
So when we talk about aesthetics, it is the main stage. The main motivation in this stage is pleasure. You can think of the stage as basically a form of psychological hedonism, such as if, if, it is, if in this stage people are after pleasure, specifically the pleasure of experiencing beauty. This is the fervor of one's 20s wrapped up in music, movies, and experiencing the wonder of life. So, the objective of each day and life in general seems to be to collect as much experience of beauty and pleasure as possible.
Okay. So, that is
So,
aesthetics,
aesthetics.
more on pleasure,
Yeah.
obtaining pleasure. Next is
The
ethics.
ethics. So, in ethics is a ethical stage in a person has risen above her aesthetically focused mode of operation and has begun to follow the rules and laws of her society.
Okay. So, that is ethics. So, you
Yeah.
will know how to decide
The
so
distinction of right and wrong.
right and wrong. Like in the picture, you're good or bad. So, again, the distinction.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it's up to you in how to
yeah,
decide.
that is ethics. So, lastly is
Religious.
religious.
So for
This is the highest stage, I think.
yeah,
Highest
the
stage.
religious.
Yeah, the last stage.
But for Kierkegaard, it is the highest stage of life that humans can hope to be is what he calls the religious stage. So, but the religious stage does not essentially involve in any particular deity or belief system.
Yeah.
It is not about that. Rather, it's about progressing past the previous two stages in life.
The aesthetics and ethics.
The previous one. Then it's something profound and pulsating. So the move from the aesthetic stage to ethical stage is about moving away from particular things and toward general things, uh, the principles, obligations, and order of progress. But after some time, that that can begin to feel routine. So it can feel as if there is no higher purpose in it other than to continue on doing the right thing, fulfilling obligations.
So these are the three stages in life again: aesthetics, ethics, religious life. So I think our topic is will end with that the stages in life by Soren Kierkegaard. So that's all, and thank you everyone.
Oh, palakpak, palakpak. Okay. Very good. So this afternoon's topic, ayan, narinig natin na there are we were presented with three philosophers. One is Blaise Pascal, second is William James, and Soren
Clifford.
Kierkegaard.
Tapos Clifford, sir.
Si Clifford, yan, best friend ni William James. Okay. So, bago ako maglagay ng input ko, let's have an open forum.
Sed.
Isa may question.
Record yun din. Nag-record mo? Gidoble mo para sure.
Okay. Somebody makita kong tingog.
Okay.
Any questions from your classmates? Clarification?
Ako, sir. Nakapangatan na, sir.
Ano ikaw may nangutana, ikaw may ga-report.
Kayo mo kumungutan na, sir.
Kunya na ka mangutana, tubag sa sa ilang mga pangutana. Kunya ra nang imong pangutana. Sila sa si si Benji, babawi. Sige. Benji.
Sige. Sa ko, pangutahan ako sa kan na unsa nga way nga gi-prove ni Pascal nga ang Ginoo nag-exist kay according to William James nga according to William James nga belief without evidence is immoral. Yun sa man niya pag-answer ni Pascal. I-depend niyang kwan.
Si Clifford tong nagsulti nga immoral.
Si Clifford is it.
Would like to answer that. Thank you, Ben. Would like to answer that. Kasama si Mars. Nawala na si Mars.
Ingat, sir.
Out man.
Tapos lang kanya, sir.
Kenneth na yung mutubag atong pangutana ni Ben. Saka nito, Ben, kindly repeat the question.
Kaliwat na lang ko
Yun sa pag-prove ni Blaise Pascal ang God's existence, mo ba to?
Yes, sir. Kay may argument si Clifford nga belief without evidence is immoral. So,
sige.
ito siya, sir. Akong pangutahan.
Mars, nakuha niyo mo to?
Dili man to si Blaise Pascal, sir, ang iyang kakuha ni Clifford. So, it is William James who said na justification for religious faith without sufficient evidence is okay. It's okay to believe without sufficient evidence. He proved it through his kadong story niya nga The Shy Dater. Mara to, sir.
Ben, sa comment mo, Ben.
Okay na, sir.
Ito kay Blaise Pascal, yun sa man niya pag-prove na na Diyos. Na-prove ba niya nga na Diyos si Blaise Pascal?
Kay Blaise Pascal, sir, is wala man yan nakuan, pero he let the people siguro nga to choose ba whether to believe in God and don't believe, then sa ikadua pod is God exists or God does not exist.
So kung if I believe that God exists, what will I gain from it?
Then if you believe that God exists, then God really exists, then you will gain eternal happiness, sir, in heaven. Moto sa iyang katong sa iyang Pascal wager, sir, ba katong bitong murag a gambler's argument.
Mm. Pero what if God does not exist? So sayang lang yung belief ko.
Nothing happens, sir. If God does not exist, then you believe in God, then nothing happens. Wala
Tapos
lang.
walang Diyos. Wala lang. Sayang
Wala
biya
lang,
kung ako mga kandila nga dito sa simbahan. Dito sayang itong mga kandila dito. Ito ako mga tag sa koleksyon niya. Wala dahil Diyos dahil.
Sayang ang preparasyon sa ordination ni Father Andel.
Oo.
500,000.
Inyong formation. Oh, 500,000 agoy.
One siya, sir. One,
Pag-ipang.
kanang inana, sir, is one siya, isa siya sa mga flaws in the logic of Pascal wager. Nana siya po dito sa mga flaws bitaw. Muko na isa nga gingon dito nga sayang rin.
Sayang yun, no?
Okay. Kung if I don't believe that God exists, and then in the end, wala naman talagang Diyos. Mas daog pa ko.
Asa to, sir?
If I don't believe that God exists,
I don't believe.
and then in the end,
God does not exist.
there's really no God.
Nothing
Diba?
happens
There's
again,
really
sir.
no God in the end.
Wala gyapon, sir.
Ano mangyari?
Nothing happens.
Daog ko. Daog ko. Eh,
Ada.
wala, nasayang itong mga kandila
Yes,
sa
sir.
akong gituan.
Pero if you don't believe in God, sir, then God exists. You will record na eternal damnation.
Pero no,
Then, he
Ah,
said
yung perno ko.
oh, mas maayo na lang gito itong you believe in God, then balag dili sure mo to yung kwento to.
So, wala gid ay proof nga gihatag si Pascal. He
Wala
did not prove anything.
nga that God exists.
Oo, wala no.
Wala. Human kwan. Ang kwadro niya is katurong sa Pascal wager katong ito bang mo kwan bitaw nga balag wala sure. Tudloan na tag sugal
Murag
niya,
mas
sir.
mas dako sugal na lang gyud ka kay murag
Yes, sir.
dako man ang
Sugal lang
dako
katong
ang
may Ginoo.
sugal na lang anay Ginoo kay mas dako man tong kuan.
Dako ka kaway, sir.
Mas dako ang premyo ba.
Yes, sir.
You have much to gain if you believe. If you believe and then God exists, then okay, heaven ka. If you believe and God doesn't exist, okay lang. Siguro katong imong mga gipanghatag sa collection, hopefully nakatabang sa mga tao to. Di ba? So, nagyapoy ko, you still gain something. Now, if you don't believe that God exists, and then there's a God, we might find ourselves in hell. Oh, di ba? Hilde tani. Sige. So for those who are looking for a proof that God exists, Pascal does not provide one. Ken, I saw your hand raised up. Ano?
Ganito kay answer kanang curiosity ba? Parang sa kanang naman to sir nga if mutuo ka nga na Diyos, then you will receive reward which is ang malangit ka. Nagpasabot ba ni sir nga kanang nagpasabot ba ni nga if mutuo ka nana dayon assurance nga malangit ka?
Yes, I believe so. Kasi first step yan eh. That's the first step that you will take. And of course, it's not enough na I believe kasi you have to nurture that faith. Diba? Yan naman ang turo sa atin. yung faith mo, you have to develop it. Kasi yung belief mo, baka if it will not be developed, mawala sa'yo. So remember the parables, parable of the sower. Diba? So some seeds, they fall into the ground. When you grow, when the seed grows, kailangan pa rin alagaan yan para mag-full bloom talaga. So yeah, yes, may assurance, but you could lose that reward if you don't nurture your faith. Kaya maybe you have friends that started believing in a God, and then something happened, personal lives, that eventually they said, no, I don't believe anymore. Things like that happen. It's really important. And I think that will be one of your jobs, to nurture the faith of our faithful. Take care of them. So yeah. Kasi kung walang faith, then wala tayong pag-usapan. Walang heaven. Yeah, so yeah. I hope that answered your question, Ken. Ayan, okay. So wala tayong... Okay, Pascal, sige, sugal na lang nato ha. Sugal na lang nato ng atong faith. Pascal. Now, okay, any questions? Isa pa. Thank you, Ben, for the question. Mars, wait lang ng imong question ha. Una sa nato ni Mover, may question ka?
Try lang sir, try. Sir, my question is, may kuha siya ni Blaise
Okay.
Pascal.
Oh, kay Pascal.
Ang question ako is, kung sa'y rason nga naka-ingon siya nga kinahanglan mo select or mo decide select or mo choose ang usa ka tawo ana nga situation nga kinahanglan pa mo select nga ug kuan na day kana mo na dayon day sa kuan argument nga there is God existing. Unsay rason nga naka-come up sa nga argument nga you have to choose or to select between either to believe or not to believe.
Ayan, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, Mars, answer. Either Mars or Kenneth. Ken. Oh,
Try ko, sir.
gusto mo.
Try ko, sir.
Sige, go.
Ber mo, kaya ko dira. Kanang each of the us has to answer kanang freedom. Then naatay ka ng mga kanang ethical dilemmas ba? It's either mutuo ka or dili. So si Blaise Pascal iya tong kanang nabugna tong mao nga theory kanang sugal-sugal. Dili pagpahadlok kun dili at least kanang natay kon sa tong consciousness ba? If dili mo tuo mao ni ang corresponding reward. Unsa man mao may interno. So if malangit so it's good kanang it is a moral duty sa katawo nga mutuo na lang kay aron malangit. Ano dira? Answer ko dira.
Wala. Mover, okay na to?
Para follow-up question na siya nga. Gusto na maklaro sa religion ni kuan Pascal, Blaise Pascal.
Di ko no klaro, Ken. Wag di man convince si Buber sa kuan. Mars, say. So ikasulti ni mo, Mars.
Nakamute ka, Mars. Nakamute. Sige.
Palibo ko sir, kadto lang sir, malandong ako may sir. Indot yung mga tana sir.
Marag si Pascal, kung ano gani, di ba? Ang background ni Pascal ay mathematician. So, numbers yung background niya. Siguro, experience niya nga, bisan pag unsaon nimo og gamit sa reason, explain that God exists. For those who don't believe kasi, no explanation is enough. So,
Kuan, di ba? Ang kay Pascal mga sir is kanang pragmatic iyang approach ito ana nga tuon na lang bitaw nga balag walay sufficient evidence.
Si James man na.
William James, talaga. Ako bang
Ang kay Pascal sir ba ang iyang gigamit nga approach, pragmatic approach sir.
Dili to pragmatic kay Pascal, si James tong pragmatic. And actually si William James, he doesn't agree with Pascal. Di rin niya gusto yung argument ni Pascal eh.
Diba sir kay Blaise Pascal he kuan kana offers a kanang pragmatic reason for believing in God.
Pragmatic yung kay Pascal.
Yes sir, he offers pragmatic reason in believing in God.
Na when you believe in God, it's, you know, you will benefit from that belief.
Yes,
diba? So kung saan ka kikita, doon ka. Kung saan ka maging komportable, kung maging komportable ang buhay mo, then doon ka. And for Pascal to believe in God is more rewarding than not believing in God. Ganun siya. So ganun na lang yung na hindi na siya nag-dwell doon sa does God really exist? Hindi na eh. Basta yung tao na tinanong niya, ikaw, where do you want to put yourself in? Do you want to be on the winning side or the losing side? So parang ganyan. So you decide. Ganyan lang yan. May iba sa atin na halimbawa sa basketball o sa PBA, nako, magpa-finals na, Hinebra pumasok. May mga tao na walang loyalty sa team eh. Kung nakikita nila na talunan, wala na yan. Doon na ako sa kung sinong panalo. Di ba? May mga taong ganun, mga sigurista. So pagtingin nila na makatalo tong manok na to, so, pupusta na sila sa mananalo. Di ba? Wala nang loyalty. Pero hindi na issue dito yung loyalty. Ang issue dito is how can I gain something from this? Ganyan yan eh. Katulad ng nangyari kay Pantaleon Alvarez sa Partido Reforma ni Ping Lacson. So nakita siguro ni Alvarez na hindi mananalo si Lacson. Mukhang mas malaki ang chance manalo ni Lenny kaya lumipat siya. So parang ganyan. So, siguro yung si Alvarez mahilig din sa sabong yun. Kaya ayaw niyang masayang yung pusta niya. Doon siya sa winning candidate. Yan actually. So yeah, practical reason lang. Logical bet. Okay? So kung nag-iisip kayo kung sino ang pipiliin nyo, tingnan nyo kung saan kayo most na mag-benefit. Yan. Yun yung challenge ni Pascal. So no proof really that God exists. Pero niwala ka na lang. Better sa atin. So yung mga, kung may ma-meet kayong mga tao na nagsasabi na walang Diyos, yun, kung napagod na kayo sa kakapaliwanag, you're tired of explaining to people that God exists, then you throw him or her the Pascal's wager. O sige, ganito na lang. Pre, ganito na lang. You want to be on the winning side or the losing side? Nasa inyo yan. So yan, Buber, ganyan na lang, Buber. Saan ka ba pupusta?
Sa winning, sir.
May Diyos. Pupusta ka sa may Diyos.
Yes, sir.
Naroon na yun, sir.
Yeah, happy to know that kasi kung di ka pupusta dito, agawas na kaugma.
Urgency.
What's the reason for staying, Buber, no? If you don't believe.
Bitaw. Di ka pusta, di.
Galangan-langan, malantaan ni Buber. Time to leave the seminary, Buber, no?
Minus 1,000 langit, sir.
Ayan, okay. Si William James. Wala na yung muta na diya. Mark James, napaka-question. Mark James tuloy. Mark J. Nakaka-question?
Sir?
Dungog.
Nako sa mata na about ang Blaise Pascal because sir, in which kanang na-prove po yun niya na ang faith is compatible with reason. Okay. Ginaingon mo niya, reason per se can never prove God's existence. So, na-prove po yun niya na ang faith is compatible with reason. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So thank you for that input, Mark J. Ayan. So faith compatible with reason. Yeah. Yes daw, sabi ni Pascal. Sabi ni MJ, yes. Okay. Ayan. Si John, may question, John?
Wala na, sir.
Wala na?
Ikaw, kamo. Saktoro daw to, sir.
Ha?
Saktoro daw to.
Tuo ka nga na ay Diyos, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, murag okay na to si Pascal, no? Kini kay William James, pragmatic siya. So, ang pragmatism kasi ay kung anong successful, kung anong useful, practical, then it's good. Okay? So, it's good yan. So, kung nakay nakita diya sa, look around you. Kung nakay sa kabutang ay mo makita diya nga murag wala na gamit, di useful, you throw it away. Kasi di na practical. Why keep it when you're not using it anymore? Or ano siya? Ano ba siya? Ano bang isang gamit niyan? Pang display? Display ba? Okay ba siya display? O then you keep it. Pero kung di mo naman kailangan talaga mag-display ng mga bagay-bagay, then you throw it away. Ayan yung pragmatic na may gamit ba siya? Kung walang gamit, it's not good. Okay, so ngayon itong will to believe ni Pascal, ni James, wala rin tong yung reasoning, yung rational nature, hindi rin yun ang kanyang tinutumbok, yung rationality. Ang sa kanya kasi, you believe in God kahit na walang sufficient evidence to prove that God exists. Nasabi niya, okay lang. It's okay to believe even without sufficient evidence. Kasi 'di ba, yun naman ang problem natin from the start. When we ask the question, does God exist? With Saint Anselm, we were not satisfied. With Saint Thomas,
you were also not satisfied kasi may mga flaws. Even with the teleological argument, it's not really 100% convincing, di ba? So with James, sabi niya, okay, so hindi talaga siya 100%, pero you can still believe even if it's not 100%. And it's not wrong, it's good. It's even good. And why is it good for William James na maniwala even without sufficient evidence? Ganun din parang yung idea din ni Pascal na if you believe even without sufficient evidence, you still have much to gain actually. Okay? So yung sinabi na example ni Mars, ano yun? Yung shy guy na may date?
Shy dater, sir.
Okay. Experience mo ba yun, Mars?
Hindi, sir.
Katong shy guy, ang kuan gay, money sitwasyon ha. Isa may shy dire, shy. Si Kenneth. Kenneth,
Benji,
shy
sir.
ka? Si Benji ang shy? Oh.
Benji, sir. Lawan ni sir.
sir.
Oh, si MJ din daw. MJ daw, si John. Naghanap og shy ninyo, oy. Sama ninyo. Kaya alam mo, overcome ninyo yung shyness. Anyway, so ang shy guy, nasa date niya ang nasa mga apprehensions nga tingalig dili sa magustuhan or tingalig wala siya masulting maayo. Kung nasa isulti baka ma-misinterpret, di ba? Oo. So daghan kayo sa mga doubts ba na going to the date. And wala man po siya proof na mahitabo tong iyahang mga apprehensions, yung kanyang mga doubts. Wala siya proof. Wala po siya proof nga dili mahitabo. Di ba? So pwede mangyari, pero pwede rin hindi mangyari. Now, sa sinabi ni James yung dead option, avoidable option, saka yung trivial option, ang himuon karon ni shy guy, hindi na lang siya sisipot. Kasi nga baka magkamali siya ng sasabihin, baka hindi siya magustuhan ng babae, etc. Hindi na lang siya sisipot. Pero kung ang gagawin ni shy guy, even with those fears, unfounded, kasi wala naman talagang evidence na mangyari, he would still go. Diba? He would still go. And then during the date, ayan, etc. Doon na niya makikita kung ano talagang mangyayari. Now, by going there, the shy guy believe, without sufficient evidence. Pero he has much to gain by going there than by not going at all. Diba? Yun eh. So parang if you don't try, then you will not find out. Diba? It's better to have tried than not to have tried at all. So yun yung ganun eh na saan ka mas mag-gain? Doon sa walang proof, pero gagawin mo pa rin, or hindi mo na lang gagawin? Diba? So gagawin mo na lang kahit na insufficient. May proof pero it's not 100%, but you will do it. And sabi ni James, if you will do it, then you will have to gain. And then later on, si shy guy, nung nag-joke siya, tumawa si girl. Oh, di ba? Tapos nung nagtuloy-tuloy na kwentuhan, nasundan pa ng isa pang date, hanggang sa naging sila na. So imagine kung hindi siya pumunta sa unang date na yon dahil baka makamali siya. Di ba? Yun. Kaya for James, kahit na medyo kulang-kulang yung proof, sige, go tayo doon. And ito yung sabi ni Clifford, kinontra ni Clifford na sabi niya, kung gagawin mo yon, it's immoral. Kasi may dalawang rules eh. First one is, ang trabaho daw natin is to search for the truth. And the second one is to avoid error. Yan yung two duties natin, obligation natin. And how can we avoid error? By seeking the truth. And how would we know that is the truth? Because of evidence, because of proof. Kaya hanggat hindi tayo makakuha ng 100% proof na this is false, then we don't believe. Wag. Kasi if you do, then baka magka-error ka, then that would be a violation of our second duty, which is to avoid error. Kaya kay Clifford, sabi niya, mali yung sinasabi ni James. Doon siya nanggagaling. Ayan. Ngayon, kay James naman, sabi niya, tama din naman si Clifford, kaya yung idea ni James na will to believe is not for all times, it's not for everything. Kasi ang tendency niyan, na ang gagawin mo, sa lahat ng bagay gagawin ko yan. Hindi naman. Hindi. No. Hindi yun ang point ni James. Na sa lahat na lang ng gagawin mo, kahit hindi 100%, maniniwala ka na lang. So, hindi naman ganun yung point niya. Kaya mahalaga kay James yung 3 conditions. So tandaan niyo rin yan, yung 3 conditions. Is it a live option? Okay? Live option siya if there's a possibility of it happening. Pwede yan. Yung live option yan. So halimbawa, mamaya, magpapadala si Father Tim ng burger. Pwede bang mangyari yon? So, live option yan, ha? May possibility. Pwedeng mangyari. Ayan. Now, yan ay live option. Ang dead option ay kung na si Father Tim ay magbibigay ng sasakyan sa inyo, bawat isa bibigyan kayo niya ng sasakyan. That's a dead option kasi that will never happen. Ayan, okay? So, yun yung live tsaka dead option. So, live option, there's a possibility that it will happen. Live yan. Now, yung forced option tsaka yung avoidable option, ang forced option ay either or. Either or yan. Nothing in between. Yung avoidable option naman, may gitna. Okay? Kung may logic na ba kayo? Nag-aral na kayo ng logic, di ba? Tapos na?
Yes, sir.
So, alam niyo yung disjunction.
Paano may kapot ba?
Hello, akaabot disjunction, proposition, disjunction, yung either or, complete disjunction, tsaka incomplete disjunction.
Katawag pili kag isa, sir.
Either or. Di ba?
Sige, sir, magpili. Sa duha, nakapilihan, sir.
Duha piliyon nimo, complete na kung duha ra gyud ang choices gyud.
Duha ra gyud, sir, pero
Duha ra gyud, wala gyud. Complete na siya. So kung halimbawa, money or life, duha ra nakabuok. Or pwede ba yung may joke na money or life, pwede ba ano yung isang option? Kalimutan ko tuloy yung joke na yun. Pwede ba kiss na lang? So pag ganyan, avoidable option yan sa mga ganyan. So pag avoidable, pwedeng sa gitna. Ayan, pwede kang gumitna. So pag forced option, talagang either believe or not believe. Nothing in between. Yun eh. So forced option yan. Pagdating sa in believing, it's a forced option. Now sa momentous naman, ito yung irrevocable option na talagang it really matters. Na mahalaga sa'yo to. Momentous option yan. So ano bang mga momentous options natin? For example, sa seminary, pag nag-decide ka whether to continue or not to continue, ano ba yung options nyo if you want to define your choice? Isang momentous option would be family. Pwedeng family, di ba? It's a momentous option na it really matters to you. Na sometimes kasi nangyari na yung family mo ang naging reason for leaving the seminary kasi parang mas kailangan nila ako na sa labas ako at magtatrabaho kasi that's where I can really help them instead of following my calling. So pwede yung momentous option. Pero yung trivial option, yung halimbawa sabi ng girlfriend mo, lumabas ka na para tayo na lang magsama. O yan. So, I don't know kung trivial sa inyo yon or momentous. Ano ba yon? Mars, momentous ba yon, Mars? Kung ang sabihin ng girlfriend mo na...
Trivial lang,
basta,
sir.
Trivia yan kung si, ano, di ba? Oh. Pero kung magulang na or family na, yan, momentous na yan. So, yun yung mga ganon. So, kung titingnan niyo yan, so, hindi sa lahat ng okasyon, pwede yung will to believe ni, James. MJ, may question ka.
Sir, naglibog ano sa avoidable o forced ba, sir?
Naglibog ka sa avoidable tsaka forced. Okay. Ano bang avoidable tsaka forced? Pag forced option, there are only two options. Ano ba sa buhay natin ang only two options? Halimbawa, black, pagpapiliin ka, black or non-black. Ganyan yan. Yun yung forced. Black or non-black. Itim o hindi itim. Yan yung dalawang choice. Wala ka ng ibang choice doon. Pero kung sasabihin mo na black or white, avoidable yan kasi pwede kang pumili ng gray.
Okay, sir.
Diba? Kasi black, white, meron namang gray eh. So pwedeng pumili ka ng gray. Pero pag sinabi mo ng black and then non-black, itim tsaka hindi itim, only two choices. Yun yung forced option. Dalawa lang talaga.
Thank you, sir.
Oo. Sa seminary, either you leave the seminary or you stay. Dalawa lang yun. Hindi naman pwedeng in between. Ano yung in between nun?
Wala, sir.
Pwede bang nasa seminary pa rin ako pero cook na lang? Hindi na magpapare. O nasa seminary ka.
Staff na lang. Staff na lang.
Staff na lang. Nasa seminary ka pa rin pero hindi ka na seminarista. O di kaya magwardya ka ng seminary. So yun, pwede yun eh. Kasi either you stay or you leave kasi staying means continuing your formation and then leaving would mean ending your formation. So first option yan. Ganun siya. So sa decision making. So ayan So kung sabihin nyo kay William James na pwede palang maniwala kahit walang sufficient evidence. Yes, pero not all the time. Not on all occasions. So sa darating na election, sino bang pipiliin nyo? Si Marcos o si Lenny? Ayan, pwede yung si Pacquiao. Ayan, tingnan nyo. Yan yung avoidable option. Ayan, avoidable option yan, halimbawa. Wala naman kasing proof talaga na ito yung perfect candidate eh. Di ba? Kasi yung iba na, this is the best candidate for us. Pero how can you prove that? Ayan, may resibo. Si Lenny, sabi niya, may resibo ako. Si Marcos, walang resibo yan. Absent lagi yan eh. Tapos si Pacquiao, meron din. Ganyan, di ba? So pwede yung siguro pa to discern, to help you with your discernment. Maybe you can use James strategy. Yan. Si Pacquiao daw. Yan. Tapos ang tanong sa'yo, ano naman nagawa ni Pacquiao? May 100% sure ka ba na si Pacquiao talaga? Wala naman siguro 100%. Huwag ka maniwala kung hindi 100%. Ayun, pasok mo si James. Paliwanag mo ngayon. Tatlo yan. Di ba? Yan. Apply nyo sa buhay. Yan. Okay, next. Kay Kierkegaard, ito, tingnan natin si Kierkegaard. Ito, alam niyo, maganda to si Kierkegaard sa, paborito kong philosopher din to, existentialist. Yung 3 stages, 3 stages in life's way, pwede niyong i-apply sa sarili din to. Okay. Ano yung 3 stages? First stage was aesthetic stage. Okay. Now, sa aesthetic stage, sensual pleasure. So parang kung i-compare mo yan sa buhay natin, like being a child. Look at the children. Di ba? Wala namang ibang habol ang children kundi mapasaya yung sarili nila. Ano yung request nila pag napunta sa mall? Bili ng laruan. Sino matutuwa sa laruan? Hindi naman yung parents niya. Sino natutuwa? Siya. Siya. Tapos, saan tayo kakain? Sa Jollibee. Yan, kahit na yung parents niya ayaw ng Jollibee, pupunta yon. Bakit? Para sa kanya. Ano pa? Ano pa bang gusto ng mga bata? Manood ng movie. Yeah. So kahit na ayaw ng mga magulang ng Disney, ng cartoon, manunood yan kasi yung bata, di ba? Yan. So yun yung first stage na yan. So yung first stage. Pangalawang stage ay yung ethical. Ayan. Ethical stage. Sa ethical stage, meron ang itong parte ng buhay natin kung saan meron na tayong responsibility. Now, we cannot just do what we want. It's no longer yes, very good. So hindi na siya pleasure. It's no longer what makes me happy. So ang ano dito ay yung duty. So anong obligation ko? So even if I don't want it, I will do it kasi it's my duty. Yun yung ethics. Okay? And at pangatlo, yung genuine faith, yung religious stage. Ayan. So dito sa religious stage, ayan. So hindi na ako kung hindi yung pinaniniwalaan mo na doon ka kakapit ka sa isang belief. Di ba? Ang tawag ni Kierkegaard dito yung leap of faith. Even if you don't know what's beyond, you will make that leap. You will, parang si James, you will yourself to believe. Yun yung religious stage. Si Abraham, kung titingnan natin, ang example kasi talaga dito sa religious stage ay si Abraham. Kung ethical or moralista ang pagtingin sa ginawa ni Abraham with Isaac, di ba? Papatayin ni Abraham si Isaac. Kung walang faith yon, pwede nating kasuhan si Abraham ng assault. Assault and then murder. Or kung hindi man murder,
homicide.
Parang homicide. Kasi may intention to kill. Intention to kill. And for those who don't believe, Abraham is crazy. Sira ulo yan eh. Sinong matinong ama ang papatay ng anak? Di ba? Nakikita natin yan. May mga magulang pinapatay yung anak, asawa, etc. Pero ang sabi, kasi lulong sa droga o di kaya sira ulo na. But Abraham is not crazy. Di ba? So ginagawa niya yon hindi na about himself, but for God. At ito yung pinakamahirap na stage na I'm sure yung iba kahit pari na, wala pa rin sila sa stage na to. May mga pari dyan na nasa aesthetic stage pa rin eh. I don't know. Napapansin nyo ba yun? Nasa aesthetic stage pa rin. Bakit? Sarili lang nila, iniisip nila. Yung gusto nila nakapalibot sa kanila, magaganda. Diba? When they buy things, it's not really for its practical use, but it's for their pleasure. Observe. Tingnan niyo yan. And there are, priest na lang yung example ko kasi mga seminarista kayo. And then there are also some priests na nasa ethical stage. Makikita niyo rin yan na they do their job even if they're tired, even if they don't like it, they do it kasi it's their duty as priests. Merong iba dyan na kahit na 10 misa na ang ginawa niya sa isang araw, and then merong tumawag na humingi ng
Siko.
Anointing. Oh, sick call. Matutulog na lang sana siya kasi pagod siya for the whole day. Pero since merong sick call, babangon yan at pupuntahan niya yon kasi it's his duty. Yung iba dyan na nasa aesthetic stage pa lang, sasabihin nila, balik ka na lang bukas, pagod ako. Sarili lang niya, iniisip niya. Yan. So, yan. And then, meron din kayo makikita dyan na nasa religious stage na talaga siya na it doesn't matter kung ano yung gamit niya, yung kwarto niya, simple lang. Ano bang meron sa kwarto niya? A bed, a chair, a table, that's it. Ano bang sasakyan niya? Sasakyan ng ibang tao. Wala siyang sasakyan. Nakikisakay sa kaibigan. Kasi that's what friends are for. Sabi niya, meron akong kaibigan, tinanong ko, ba't wala kang sasakyan? Okay lang, may kaibigan naman ako eh. O, ano kung may kaibigan ka, may sasakyan siya. O di, doon ako sasakay sa kanya. So may mga ganyan na this life is not really this life is not that really important kasi we are all travelers in this life. Ang talagang natutuwa ako si Cardinal Tagle. No, si Cardinal Tagle, naging teacher ko yan sa Tagaytay. And I really seen how simple he was. Pupasok yan sa klase namin, nakasandal lang yan eh. Tapos, very simple. And then, he really makes lessons, difficult lessons, very simple. Pag siya nagpapaliwanag, gets na gets mo eh. Pero pag ako ang nagpapaliwanag doon sa classmate ko na hindi na absent, hindi niya ako maintindihan. Sabi ko, wag ka na lang kasi mag-absent para maintindihan mo. So, ganun, si Cardinal Tagle, bishop na siya, sumasakay sa tricycle yun. And nagta-tricycle, hindi na yung tricycle, yung seminary kasi ng tahanan ng mabuting pastol sa harap lang ng SBD yan, kaya nilalakad lang niya yan papunta dun sa classroom. Pero nung naging bishop na siya, ang alam niyo sasakyan niya, Innova, at tapos ang sabi pa niya, hindi sa akin yan, nasa diocese yan. He never calls things his own. Wala, hindi siya pumakapit sa mga material things. Yan. Kaya pag kay Bishop Cardinal Tagle talagang saludo ako. I don't know kung meron kayong mga idol. Yun ang magiging model nyo as you continue on with your formation. Ayan. Okay, so ito yung kay Soren Kierkegaard. So three stages in life that you could also apply in your formation. Okay. So nasaan ka na ba ngayon? Ngayon as a seminarian, what stage are you in? So, ayan lang. So hindi yan dahil sa edad kundi sa sa paniniwala sa tao na yan. It's 4:36. No, lumampas na tayo ng 6 minutes. Okay, so kung ano yung iba pa yung katanungan, I leave you with the modules. Kindly go over it again. Siguro after ng presentation ni Mars and Kenneth, palakpakan uli natin si Mars at si Kenneth. So, ayan, thank you for the presentation. Maybe you would like to go back to the modules and read it again, and then maybe this time it would be clearer to you. So, ayan, okay. May question pa?
Kahot.
Wala na. Okay, so next meeting, ano ba yung, kahot. Wala, lampas na tayo ng 6 minutes eh. Next time, promise may kahot tayo next time. So, next meeting, eto, why is there evil? Kung gandang topic niyan. Bakit may evil? So, John and Boover.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ihanda namin yung mga tanong.
Yes, sir.
Kung merong Diyos, bakit may masamang nangyayari? Ano inyong explain ninyo kung bakit ginigera, bakit merong Putin? kung may Diyos? Ha? Bakit buhay pa si Putin? Kung may Diyos. Sige. I'd be happy, we're very happy to hear from you. Okay, so yun lang siguro. So thank you. Thank you everyone. So wala muna tayong kahot. Sorry. Pumampas tayo eh. So Father Tim, thank you.
Okay.
Pero may
And
yeah.
I'll stop recording now. Stop recording.